Welcome to the F1 Time Portal, a Formula One history podcast started by two Formula One nerds. I'm your host, Rosa.
And I'm your born-to-be-alive host, Luigi. And today, we're taking you back to the 1979 season, part 4. So let's go.
Born to be alive.
Do you recognise the song?
I know the song.
Yes.
I'm going to say I don't know who the artist is, though.
Yeah, he's a real one-hit wonder guy, I have to admit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I wouldn't expect you to know. But do you remember the film clip? He's walking around with a cane, a walking cane.
No, I don't know.
Wearing white and
okay.
His name's Patrick Hernandez.
No, never heard of him.
Cool song.
Yeah.
Very much of its day.
Right.
So we're up to race 6 of 15, the Belgium Grand Prix. So it's at Zolder, not at Spa. At May 13, number of laps 70, and the weather was hot. So Reutemann is finding out the hard way that I think he has joined Lotus at the wrong time. He saw Lotus dominate, didn't he? He saw Lotus dominate 78.
You did, yeah.
It was clear that Ferrari and Ligier were way quicker than the Lotus. And Lotus even dumped the Lotus 80 for this race. And even the Lotus 79 was now being overtaken by the other teams. Because Lotus were focusing on developing the 80, not developing their 79.
The 9, that's right. I mean, they weren't doing that badly, but they weren't anywhere near their dominance from previous seasons. But yes, he wasn't enjoying it. So the untimed practice session was wet, but that didn't stop Villeneuve throwing his Ferrari around like it was dry.
That's a typical Mike Lang comment. And we know Mike Lang, as we'll discover, has a preference for certain drivers. So the rain had stopped for the timed sessions and the racing line dried quickly for slicks to come out. The Ligiers again set the pace before the rain started up again, which sent everyone scurrying back to the pits.
Second practice on Saturday was dry, although overcast, and no one was able to get near Andretti's 1978 qualifying time of 1 minute 20.9, with the pole set by Lafitte 1 minute 21.13. That's interesting, Louis. Even in this, I guess the 78 was the dominant 79 car, but interesting that no one could get near it.
Yeah, it's unusual because we've heard some records being dropped.
That's right.
So Depailler did qualify second, just 0.07 seconds behind. Piquet surprised everyone to get third in the Brabham, and Jones in the new Williams lined up fourth. So he's up there with that new car, and Andretti was fifth.
Quite a messed up grid from what we're used to. Where are the Ferraris?
Yeah, I know. They lined up 6th and 7th with Regazzoni in the other Williams in 8th.
Well, that's interesting. They dominated with that new ground effect car, and now they're sort of mid pack.
Yeah.
Okay, so at race start, it was Piquet who had the best start and shot past on the inside of Lafitte's hesitant Ligier, taking to the grass in the process and pulling alongside Depailler, and then roared towards the first. Oh, and they both roared towards the first left-hander.
Exciting start. So Depailler was able to keep his slight advantage while Jones and the Williams managed to carve across Piquet's Brabham to take second place, leaving Piquet in third and relegating Lafitte further back to fourth. So a pretty bad start by Lafitte. No doubt, realising he blew his engine in the last race. So probably being a little bit careful.
They were all bunched up after that with Andretti, Regazzoni, Scheckter, Villeneuve, Reutemann and Hunt.
There was drama on lap 2 when Regazzoni and Scheckter collided at the chicane as Scheckter was trying to squeeze by on the inside. This caused Villeneuve to become involved as well, with his Ferrari riding up over the Williams' left rear wheel, which pretty much ended Regazzoni's race due to a bent suspension.
The Ferraris continued. Scheckter was now 6th, but Villeneuve had to pit for a new nose cone and front wheel and subsequently lost the best part of a lap to the leaders. This, a second bad race in a row for Villeneuve after his 2 wins on the trot. What's going on, Gilles? Like I said, mercurial. He's either Really, really good or really, really bad?
Yeah, and
Mm,
Schechter's getting involved in a lot of dingles and battles
mm,
that are
mm,
involving impact on his race as well. So their Ferraris are really all over the place, aren't they?
mm,
Up
mm.
front, though, Depailler was leading now, followed very closely by Jones. Lafitte was now third, Piquet fourth, and Scheckter overtook Andretti for fifth.
2 laps later, Scheckter forced his way through on the inside of Piquet and again clashed wheels as he had done with Regazzoni, but neither car sustained any damage and they all continued.
Back in these days, the cars could touch
Could bump.
wheels. They could
Mm,
bump each other and it was okay. It
yeah,
wasn't an immediate, but they wouldn't run each other off the road or anything. But they
no.
would still, but they could touch and it wasn't the end of the world, you
I
know?
know these days, if they touched, there'd be a big rip in the side of the car or the wheel would come
Yeah.
off. Like they were very, very, I don't know what the word is, but
Yeah.
sensitive.
Yeah. So Piquet was
Mm.
now trying to keep Andretti at bay, but it only took another lap for Andretti to get past the Brabham. It turned out that Piquet was suffering from a blistered front wheel and he had to pit. So his gamble to race on the softer compound Goodyears was not paying off.
Reutemann, who was in sixth, was also having tyre issues and after pitting dropped him to 21st, even further behind than Piquet after he rejoined the race.
The excitement, though, was at the front, as Depailler, Jones, and Lafitte were all nose to tail. On lap 14, Jones and Depailler were side by side on the straight, screaming past the pits all the way to the left-hander. That's really exciting. Depailler
Mm.
was hugging the inside, so Jones was forced wide, and before he could snap back, Lafitte edged him out to take second place.
Whoa! I like this like multiple car action in
Yeah,
around corners. We usually see,
yeah,
like we're seeing 2 or 3 cars battling for the corner.
yeah.
Jones wouldn't let up, however, and started piling the pressure on Lafitte. By lap 20, the 3 cars were still nose to tail in the lead, but Lafitte was now leading, having taken advantage of Depailler running a little wide on a slippery track.
And it happened again on lap 21, allowing Jones to get up to second place. But Lafitte also started to lose grip in his with his tyres, and Jones, after only 3 laps, uh, after 3 laps, Lafitte had to relinquish the lead to Jones because of the tyre issue.
So this was history in the making, as it was the first time a Williams had ever led a Grand Prix. How's that,
Yeah,
Louis?
that's a big call, isn't it?
1979, yeah.
Yeah.
But more to the point, Jones started to pull away at a rate of about 1 second a lap.
And just a special call out with what exciting battles up front prior to Jones
Mm,
pulling away. I mean, we
mm,
really had some exciting drama and challenges here.
mm.
On lap 40, there was more drama though, as Jones, having built up a 12-second lead on those dominant Ligiers, was looking like taking the second Grand Prix victory of his career, suddenly coasted to a stop on the track due to an electrical failure.
Oh, no. Similar to 2026, Louis, with electrical issues.
Yeah.
What a shame. Depailler, having overtaken Lafitte, could hardly believe his luck as he went by the disappointed Aussie to take back the lead.
So now we have the two Ligiers in the lead, 1-2, and now coming under pressure from Scheckter in his Ferrari, who'd climbed up to fourth.
What a drive by Scheckter. Like, wasn't he like all the way at the back?
Yeah, he had all the dingles and battles. I think Villeneuve went all the way in the
Yeah.
back, but Scheckter was still in the lower points area.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
So, but Villeneuve was also charging his way through the field. Remember, he was a half a lap behind the leaders and he had to stop for a new nose. He was now in 11th place.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of retirements that were helping, but he was doing good
Yeah.
driving.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Louis, just let me enjoy this Ferrari moment in the sun. Okay. I know what's coming in the 80s. I told
Okay.
you.
And the 1990s.
Thanks.
Yeah. So back to the action of this race, Hunt then spun into a guardrail, and in order to avoid an over-enthusiastic marshal who had run across the track to his aid, Jarier had to take to the grass, tearing away his skirt and forcing him to pit. So poor Jarier in that Tyrrell, he's really having a tough time too. So 2 laps later, he complained of understeer and pitted again, putting him totally out of contention.
was that Marshall thinking?
Yeah.
If we see marshals running across the track today, we all have like massive anxiety attacks.
And we've seen some tragedies happen because of that. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, there was another twist in store for us though, because Depayet, now leading his teammate by nearly 3 seconds, suddenly went wide at the first left-hander past the pits and understeered off the track into the barriers, breaking the Ligier's front suspension. Race over. So another Ligier driver error.
So Lafitte was back in the lead, but it was short-lived as Scheckter was closing fast and on lap 54 of 70 got effortlessly past the Ligier to become the fourth race leader of this race.
That's pretty good driving by him. He
That is
persisted.
huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we've got Scheckter in the lead, Lafitte second, Peroni in the Tyrrell third, Villeneuve fourth, and Patrese in the Arrows fifth.
Villeneuve was slicing through the field. He had now a 15-second gap to Peroni and overtook him on lap 62 to take third.
Now that's an impressive drive. That's an impressive drive.
Yes. Yeah.
So Villeneuve was gaining at 2 seconds to lap. He was gaining against Lafitte. Lafitte was 20 seconds ahead of him in second, and he was carving out 2 seconds to lap to catch him.
Wow. Do you reckon he can do this? Another Ferrari 1-2 would be awesome, Louis.
Well, there's only 8 laps left, so mathematically he shouldn't be able to do it. But you know what it's like when you see the car in front.
Yes.
But in the last lap, as Scheckter is scoring his first Ferrari F1 win, Villeneuve's superb drive from last place was all for nothing as his Ferrari coughed and died out of fuel.
Wow.
Yeah.
He had to sit there as all those people that he passed went past him again and pushed him down to 7th.
Yeah, poor guy. And out of the points too. Dramatic race, crazy finish. Scheckter first by 15 seconds. Lafitte second. Finally, he's getting some points. And Peroni third in the Tyrrell.
I'm really disappointed about that, Louis. Out of fuel. We always have this conversation whether out of fuel is a team error or a driver issue. Because, I mean, he was pushing pretty hard. He drove from last place.
Yeah, but we don't really know because the fuel gauges could
lap.
Yeah. Anyway, that's life, right? Poor Villeneuve.
I'm not over it. Even though I wrote this, I'm reliving it now as if it's my first time. So now we have interesting points collection happening. So we're going to read the fine print. Only the top 5 positions are included for both sets of standings. Okay, thank you. Only the best 4 results from the first 7 races and the best 4 results from the last 8 races counted towards the Drivers' Championships. Numbers in brackets are championship points. Numbers without brackets. So the numbers in brackets are the total points scored. Well, I think I want to read that sometimes.
Yeah, I think you can read it every time if you want. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got Lafitte now in the lead on 24 points with Jody Scheckter on 24. In brackets, he's got 25. So he's already had to lose 1 point. Villeneuve and Depayet are equal on 20 points. Reutemann is on 19, but in brackets, he's got 21. So he's had to concede 2 points. There's still,
depending on how you look at it, there's basically only 4 or 5 points still between first and fifth.
Yes, that's right.
Very tight.
On the constructors' side, though, there's no such rule. So Ferrari's now in the lead on 45, Ligier is second on 44, and Lotus is third on 33.
Interesting. And that points dropping thing will become more and more important, I guess.
Yep.
So up to race 7 at Monaco. It's at Monte Carlo as usual, 27th of May, 76 laps, and the weather is warm and sunny. So as per usual, Monaco only allows 20 drivers to start the race and only 24 to take part in the practice.
So the FOCA members all had guaranteed entries, while Arnoux and Patrese had been nominated by the organisers, so they got an entry. Gee, any surprise, Louis, that one of them is Fred?
Well, Yeah. You did initially say they are French, but Patrese
No,
is not French. But
no, he's not French.
but
And he's in an
Anu,
Arrows. He's not even in the
yeah,
French team.
I don't know why they gave Patrese that special credit.
Yeah.
But Anu certainly is, of course. So anyway, with those inclusions, that leaves 2 spaces for drivers to qualify. And so they had an hour-long pre-qualifying sessions. This sounds a bit silly. For 3 drivers to contest for the last 2 spots.
That is a bit of a joke, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was open to more teams, but some did not participate in protest and others decided to quit F1, which we won't talk about as they were very minor players, very minor teams. So, but it's interesting that they decided to quit F1 because they couldn't qualify for Monaco.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like they didn't want to take part in what they thought was a farce.
That's right.
And I was thinking to myself, if I was an F1 driver, this is probably what my career would look like. I'd turn up to Monaco and realise I didn't have the pace, and then say, "Oh, these rules are disgusting. I refuse to participate." That's the angle I would take.
So you'd do that to hide your lack of driving skill.
Yeah, and then say, yeah,
it was all the rules' fault.
It was all the rules' fault.
You wouldn't be one of those open drivers saying that you forgot you couldn't select second properly and you selected whatever and you blew up your engine. Wouldn't be saying that.
I'd be applying 2026 mindset in a 19, and because it's applied in a 1979 era, everyone would 100% believe me. Because,
yes, they would.
Yeah. So in the end, though, it was Massens and Stuck who qualified. Who qualified for qualifying? If that makes sense.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So again, they had the untimed session where a lot of teams fiddled with their setup before the timed sessions were underway.
And it was Ferrari in the Michelins that was showing everyone the way around the circuit.
Jones crashed his Williams and Reutemann and Pironi also damaged their cars and needed to jump in their spares.
So by the end of the second timed session, Scheckter had set pole with a time of 1 minute 26.45, only 0.07 seconds ahead of Villeneuve. Depailler secured third, Lauda fourth, he's up there again, and Lafitte fifth. So those Ligiers are still there.
They're still there.
They haven't fallen away, but, they're in the top 6 all the time.
That's right. In the 30-minute warm-up before the race, Villeneuve's Ferrari started trailing clouds of blue smoke due to a broken oil line. Luckily, there was time to fix it as the race wasn't scheduled to start until 3:30.
So at race start, Scheckter took off like a rocket to take an immediate lead. A good benefit in Monaco once you're in the lead. Villeneuve was a little slow off the mark and was taken by surprise by a fast-starting Lauda, who shot past into second place.
Villeneuve was only just able to hold off Depailler to stay in third as they rounded the first corner.
Scheckter was already pulling away from Lauda's Brabham, and by the end of the second lap, there was now a 3-second gap.
At the end of the third lap, Villeneuve made it past Lauda to reclaim second.
That's pretty impressive on this track. Behind Lauda, there was a mob of cars led by Depailler, then Lafitte, Pironi, Jones, Mass, Jarier, Reutemann, and the rest.
Hunt retired from 12th place with a broken drive shaft. Then Arnoux ran into the back of Piquet, ending his race. So much for the special treatment for Arnoux.
Yeah. Not that he needed it, because he was always going to qualify up there anyway.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, by lap 10, the 2 Ferraris were dominating the race, with Villeneuve not far behind Scheckter, and the pair had already built up a 12-second lead over Lauda in the Brabham.
Pironi then got impatient and rammed up behind Lafitte on lap 16, forcing Lafitte to pit and rejoin just in time to avoid being lapped by the Ferraris. Wow.
His championship. I mean, Lafitte's leading the championship, remember?
Yeah, and he's getting lapped.
Yeah. So obviously by things out of his control, but, So 3 laps later, Pironi was at it again, though, because he made what seemed an impossible attempt to squeeze past the inside of Depailler's Ligier.
They collided. Pironi survived and shot into 4th, but Depailler spun and dropped to 14th before he could get going again.
Poor Depailler, another innocent victim of Pironi. Pironi's quite a hard-charging, touchy driver, isn't he? So
I don't remember much of Pironi. I mean, I'd heard of him as a driver, but I hadn't really heard of him that
Yeah,
much. I'm
yeah,
starting to learn a little bit about him, but yeah, he puts on some big moves.
yeah, and that's
Mm.
why he has a bit of a career, as we'll see.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. So he was now preparing to have a go at Lauda. And on lap 22, Pironi followed Lauda down to the Mirabeau and left his braking too late, hitting the Brabham's right rear tyre as the car turned into the corner, then flew straight over the top of the Brabham before crashing sideways into the barriers.
That's the third car in a row, isn't it? That's the third time.
Yeah.
But he's taken himself out this time.
Yeah.
So Lauda
Yeah.
also came in contact with the barriers, but he made it out of the pits. He made it back to the pits before retiring. I bet he was not happy with that young Pironi.
No. So the road ahead was clear for Jones to chase after the two leading Ferraris. He was gaining on them by more than 1 second a lap.
Yeah, and Regazzoni and the other Williams was also coming to be more and more in contention. He was now within range of Reutemann, who was in fourth, having overtaken himself, Massa and Jarier.
On lap 34, Jones had caught up with the Ferraris, and now they were running nose to tail.
This is the second time in a row we've heard this. He was with the two Ligiers last race.
Yeah.
So Jones was willing to bide his time. He was it's not an easy place to pass, Monaco.
No.
But he was hoping that either Scheckter or Villeneuve would make a mistake until that happened. And on lap 43, an error was made.
But it was made by Jones, not the Ferraris. He clipped the barriers with his right front wheel and ended the lap by going into the pits to retire with a bent steering arm.
Poor Jones, but it was his error. Ferrari expected as though could relax once again, as they now had a 20-second lead over Mas, who was not well, because all was not well with him as Mas was being quickly caught by Regazzoni.
On lap 50, Regazzoni caught the arrows of Mas, who by now had failing brakes, and went to the pits to get a new brake duct fitted.
There were now only 8 of the 10 cars remaining on the same lap, as the Ferraris behind the Ferraris. So the order behind Regazzoni at that point was Reutemann, Piquet, Watson, Depailler, and Laffite.
Right. So on lap 54, there was a major upset in the Ferrari camp when Villeneuve suddenly slowed to a crawl and coasted into the pits with no drive in his rear wheels due to a transmission problem, forcing him to retire. What?
Yeah.
No. This is the second race in a row that he's had to retire from, like, second place.
Yeah. I mean, you called this season dynamic winners, but reliability wins the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll come back to that, I guess. So with just over 20 laps remaining, it was all up to Scheckter now, who had a 15-second lead over Regazzoni, who had lost second gear himself, this is Regazzoni, but he continued to chase the Ferrari down and cut the lead down to just 8 seconds.
On lap 68, Depailler got the better of Watson, and on the next lap, Piquet ran into the back of Reutemann. Piquet almost stopped, then accelerated in first gear and broke his drive shaft, putting him out of the race. Jeepers.
So, there's so much hitting each other going on in this track.
Yes.
Piquet's error sounds like a bit of a rookie mistake, but these things happen,
doesn't
right?
it? Yeah.
So the final stages of the race were very enthralling as Depailler had very quick caught up to Reutemann and was trying everything he could to get past and take third place from the Argentinian, to the point where his front wing was being bent up against the back of the Lotus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Regazzoni, meanwhile, was visibly catching Scheckter, whose tyres were wearing out fast. On the penultimate lap, Depailler's hopes of getting into third disappeared as his engine blew up.
Wow. Regazzoni, meanwhile, had caught Scheckter and feinted to overtake, hoping to catch Scheckter on the other side. But Scheckter held his line, and despite a worrying moment as he came to lap back Jabouillet, managed to stay in front and take the checkered flag by just 0.44 seconds ahead of Regazzoni. So Regazzoni really gave it to him, didn't he?
Did. That Williams, I mean, it's interesting to hear that Williams is just up there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jabouillet was being lapped in the Renault.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Interesting.
Mm.
Well, good win.
Yeah, good win by Scheckter. Just held on.
Mm.
Bit sad for Villeneuve. It really was
Oh,
sad.
very sad. Very sad. So Monaco saw James Hunt bow out of the sport after his 6th retirement in 7 races in the Wolf. Yep, he decided it was time to call it a day.
I think he was just done. If he wasn't going to be at the front, why bother?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, are we going to do a bit of a Hunt stats?
Yeah, let's go through some of Hunt's history briefly, shall we? Because he's a champion and was involved in what many consider one of the greatest Formula One seasons of all time, the 76 season. So Hunt was born and raised in Surrey, began his career in Formula 3 in 69, and he actually attracted the attention of Lord Hesketh back in those days.
Mm. So he earned his notoriety throughout his early career for his reckless and action-packed exploits on track amongst his playboy lifestyle off of it in his Formula 3 days, really. This is where he wore that famous T-shirt, Sex, the Breakfast of Champions.
Yeah.
I think that's so funny.
It sums him up well, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
So he has been in Formula One for a long time.
Yes.
He was in Hesketh and he signed for Hesketh in 73. And he made his Formula One debut at this track back then. And he actually took podiums in his rookie season, which is amazing, at the Dutch and the United States Grand Prix. So he really shone in what was a midfield car.
So the Hesketh entered their own chassis in 74 and Hunt achieved several further podiums in that car. He retained his seat the following season, taking his maiden victory with Hesketh at the Dutch Grand Prix. And that race was regarded as one of the greatest underdog victories in Formula One history.
Yeah, I think it's up there, isn't it? So the team was left without sponsorship at the end of the season, the Hesketh team, which is why Hunt actually joined McLaren in 76. And he had obviously the big battle with Lauda, won the World Drivers' Championship controversially by a single point. I think in our redo, we give it to Lauda pretty easily, but that's life.
We do, yeah.
He won several further races in 77 in what was not a great McLaren.
No.
And after a winless 78 season for McLaren, he joined Wolf to retire 6 out of 7 races.
Yeah.
So a little bit disappointing. He sort of fizzled out, but not through things of his own fault. But
so he had 92 starts, 1 championship, 10 wins, 23 podiums. I mean, what's that? 92, 23 out of 92. That's just a little bit over 20%. Is that right?
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. If you want a driver that's going to get you big points, podium is how you get the big points.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So he retired from motor racing, and I think as everyone listening to this podcast knows, he established a career as a commentator and pundit for the BBC with Murray Walker, another very famous voice, and they were a very famous commentary team for much of the late 70s, 80s. Yeah, pretty much that time.
And I grew up listening to him, and I thought he was awesome. Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, he was very fiery as a commentator.
Yeah.
And he was also a columnist for the Independent.
Yeah. Okay, and he also mentored 2 Formula One drivers. He mentored other drivers as part of his post-racing career. I think they didn't really have driver managers back in those days, so they were sort of unofficial, but they're obviously on some sort of commission or money. But he was one of the mentors for Mika Hakkinen.
Wow!
Those of you know he's a double world champion.
He is.
And unfortunately, Hunt's no longer with us. He died at a really young age. He was only, I thought he was in his 50s, but maybe 45.
No.
He died very young. So, poor
From
guy.
a heart attack. Yeah.
So we farewell you, Hunt. And,
farewell, Hunt. Yes. Yeah. It would be interesting I reckon some of his calls might make it into our discussions in the future, years, Louis.
His controversial comments will live on, that's for sure.
That's for sure. All right, so back to the championships. So after 7 races, we have Jody Scheckter in the lead on 30, but he should have had 34. Lafite is second on 24. Villeneuve is third on 20 with Depailler and Reutemann. They're all on 20. Depailler should be on 22 and Reutemann should be on 25 if all the points counted.
Yep.
On the Constructors' Championship standings, Ferrari's in the lead on 54, Ligier second on 46 and Lotus third on 37. All right, we might leave it there, Louis.
Yeah.
And come back for part 5.
Yeah, the French Grand Prix is next, everyone.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
You got to come back for that one. Okay,
yeah.
bye.
We're all waiting for it. Okay, bye.
Yeah.